Thank you. Ms. Hartzler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, gentlemen, for your role in keeping our nation safe from threats both foreign and nearby. And Admiral, you said that it's not a war zone down there. I would just like to pause a little bit on that, because I had an opportunity to go in October to the border, and I came away with the impression that we are at war, and it's with the drug cartels. As I spent time with the Border Patrol agents, and we could actually see the scouts on the other side of the border, and they talked about how we're outmanned and outfunded in many ways, and how they're taking advantage of so many people in this process, and people are dying. Last year we lost 72,000 people to drug overdoses. 72,000. That's more people than died in the entirety of the Vietnam War. And so we have a mission to protect people's lives, including to counter the drug crisis. And the drugs are flowing across our border. Our agents are doing a wonderful job. They're finding a lot of drugs, and that's what people talk about. Oh, we're finding drugs at the port of entry. And I champion that. But I also know there's a lot of drugs that are making it across that we're not catching. And they're ending up in Missouri. And they're ending up in my families that I've talked to their parents whose child has died of a heroin overdose. That is why we have got to counter this. Missouri National Guard was deployed there last summer. They did an amazing job. They had 2 UH-72 crews. During the 6 months they were there, they had 470 apprehensions, and they got 1,986 pounds of marijuana that was seized. I thank God for what they are doing, that didn't end up in our country. But they're doing an amazing job, and Congress has actually given the DOD the ability to provide military support to law enforcement agencies specifically for countering the counter-drug purposes. Section 284 of Title 10 of the United States Code authorizes the DOD to provide support to counter-drug activities to control the transnational organized crime. The law clearly identifies various activities that DOD is authorized to conduct, including the construction of road and construction of fences, light installation among smuggling corridors, aerial and ground reconnaissance, transportation. So I guess 2 questions I'd like to focus on. How long has the Department of Defense been providing support to counter-drug operations at the border? And can you please provide specific examples of how DOD is carrying out the authorities authorized by Congress?
Congresswoman, we have at the Department provided support to counter-drug missions at the Department of Homeland Security and indeed other civilian agencies for a very long time, for decades. That support continues. As you correctly point out, Section 284 of Title 10 does provide the Secretary of Defense the authority in performance of that counter-drug mission, such as blocking drug smuggling corridors, to erect barriers, fencing, provide road construction, things of that nature to aid in that counter-narcotics mission.
So you're saying that Congress has authorized the Department of Defense to build a fence to counter drugs? That is already law?
Yes, that's right. If it meets that criteria in Section 284, yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many miles of fence have been built to date under this authority?
I'll have to take for the record the specific amount of fencing built under that authority. Now, of course, there's 654 miles of barrier at the southern border today. Right.
And I think that it's very clear we have already given them the authority to do this, and we do have a very critical mission to keep people safe and to make sure that people don't die as a result of these transnational drug cartel activity. And currently, they are. So it's imperative for us to find a solution. And I'm very hopeful that in the next 3 weeks we'll come together in a bipartisan fashion to address the security issue as well as the humanitarian issue that Ranking Member Thornberry mentioned, because we have a 42% increase in the number of family units, and we have 60,000 unaccompanied children that were caught last year. 60,000. I'm a former teacher and a mom. This is a humanitarian crisis. We had 2 children die. As long as there's this incentive with an open border, the drug cartels are going to continue to take advantage of women and children, and people are going to die. So thank you for what you're doing. I yield back.